Good morning, it is now 8:30 on a Saturday, but I've been up since incredibly early this morning because the Formula 1 in Australia was on this morning at 6 o'clock here in the UK. So I got up literally at 5 minutes to 6 to catch qualifying with Danny, had some breakfast, just finished up my coffee, and we're just getting ready to do a really big race-specific brick session today before we have a rest day tomorrow, which I absolutely cannot wait for because I'm pretty cooked. So today I'm going to bring you all along for that brick session, and we're going to talk all things bricks, why I do them, why I don't do them that often, and just my general philosophy when it comes to brick sessions. So to give you a quick rundown of today's session, we've got a nice long warm-up, it's kind of 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're doing 4 by 20 minutes at sweet spot with 5 to 10 minutes rest in between. It's going to add up to just under 3 hours overall. Sweet spot again is pretty much where I want to be for race watts, so we're aiming for about 90% of FTP for hopefully around 2 hours, considering that Outlaw Nottingham is quite a flat bike course. And I'll be doing the bike on the turbo again just because the weather's still pretty minging outside and there's not a lot of places very close to London to be able to do a really nice 20-minute consistent effort. And then after that we're going to run straight off the bike, so I'll get changed pretty quickly, and then we've got a tempo to sweet spot workout again for my run. This one is a bit easier considering I did a really hard run yesterday and it's going to be straight off a hard bike. So we're going to do 3-minute intervals at race pace, so tempo to sweet spot. I'm going to do 1 minute rest, and I think I'll do kind of 5 or 6 of those. We'll probably just see how the legs are feeling. I'm not sure exactly how we'll go. And then we'll run easy for the remainder of the session. I'd like to get between 45 minutes and an hour of running off the bike today, just to simulate a little bit of the stress that will come from the race. The run part is definitely easier than the actual race run, but I think it's appropriate for where I am currently in my training, having not done any hard runs off of a bike this year. Fueling for this session is just out in front of me here. So I've got 2 Outlaw bottles. These are just ice water. These 2, the Ironman bottle and the bottle behind it, both are 750ml bottles, each with 120 grams of carbs and 1 gram of sodium in. So that's 240 in bottles there, and that's what I'll use for the race with some gels. These lovely sweets are to simulate my gels because gels are very expensive to use regularly. So we've got 60 grams and 60 grams here. So that's what, 360 grams in total. Considering this bike will be 3 hours long, that is appropriate for this. However, it's a little bit more than I would use for the race itself, but longer session, hopefully, fingers crossed, than the race time itself. And then we'll see how my gut fares, having had a combination of mainly liquid calories with some jelly sweets that hopefully should be pretty similar, if not a little bit harder on the stomach than gels. So without further ado, I'm going to get changed out of my pajamas into my bib shorts to get this turbo underway. Just finishing up the turbo now. We've got 17 minutes easy left. That was impossibly hard. Really feeling the training. Can't wait for the rest day tomorrow. I did the first 3, so that was an hour at 88 to 90% of FTP, so sweet spot, but a little bit lower than maybe I'd hoped. And then I got 3 minutes through the last one. I think keep turning the pedals, stopped, tried to restart, got another 30 seconds in, just couldn't hack it. So we're cooling down. The session will be, what's that, 2 hours and a half, 2 hours 35 in total. So massive, still big, still really big, still pleased, even though it's a small setback, but you know, you take that at the end of a really big block. And then we'll just have to see how this run goes. Pretty nervous for that, because we'll just have to see how the legs respond, but just 3 minutes, just 3-minute intervals, you know, so we'll give it a crack.
was really tough. I've just finished 6 by 3 minutes tempo, 1 minute rest. It was a little bit slower than maybe I'd hoped. It was kind of lower tempo rather than middle. Obviously I'll look at the splits exactly when I get home, because GPS isn't super reliable past like these kind of houses and stuff, but oh man, definitely gonna really enjoy my rest day tomorrow.
No, stop it, go away! Stop it! She's trying to make me put that too. Welcome back to the second episode of I've forgotten to sign off this video and talk about what I wanted to, so I'm going to do that with a bowl of yogurt, granola and blueberries again, because again it's 9:30 and I need to go to bed. So today's brick session was pretty brutal, all in all for me, although I'm still pleased with how it went. I know it could have gone better. So to go over what we did, the goal for the bike was 4 by 20 minutes at sweet spot, which is between 250 and 260-ish watts for me. And I managed to do the first 3 20-minute intervals, although it was incredibly difficult. And then by the last one, I did the first kind of 2 or 3 minutes and just really struggled with that last interval. The power just wasn't there. I really wasn't feeling it, so I called it after about 3.5 minutes, because I was just really struggling to move the pedals and produce the power that was necessary. So the turbo ended up being 2.5 hours rather than 3 hours, but still pretty pleased with that. And then we went out on the run, and the goal for the run was to do 6 by 3 minutes at tempo with 1 minute float in between, and I pretty much nailed that. For me, tempo is 430 to 410 roughly per K, and I was within that, if not to the upper end of tempo through all of them, although it was incredibly hard. I'm really pleased with how this went. We ran hard straight off the bike after like a 3 or 4 minute transition for the first time in a while. At all this season actually is the first hard brick run, and I'm pleased with how the legs felt. There's definitely improvements there as well, but I think that's promising that my running is starting to improve, and hopefully we can keep that up. I thought to finish off this video, we'd just talk a little bit about my philosophy of brick runs, because I don't do them that regularly, but I think there are a number of reasons why they are very important. So in my training up to this point, I've been doing a brick run normally every other week, and that's been after a longer, easier bike with a mid, 30 or 40, 50 minute easy run off the bike, just to make sure the legs are used to it before adding any pace into those brick sessions, either in the bike or in the run. I don't tend to do brick sessions too often, simply because by the nature of running straight off the bike, it's really taxing. Especially for me, I really tend to feel it right in my hips, because when you've been hunched over for a while, either in the TT position or even just on the hoods and the drops, I tend to find my hips get really tight, and immediately go into a very upright position while running and trying to really elongate that stride and have a nice kind of heel rise at the back. I just find that my hips get really tight after that, and it takes me a while to recover from that, compared to doing a hard bike in the morning and a hard bike in the evening. A brick is obviously significantly harder. And I think there's only so much benefit to doing a brick session. Doing them all the time, multiple times a week, I think is significant overkill, because the main thing you're looking for is that familiarity with being able to know what your legs will feel like and what your legs can do running it off the bike, and improving that specifically. That's why I move from easy runs to now hard runs off the bike without a warm-up, just a hard interval straight off the bike. So I think there's a fine line between the physical and psychological toll that a brick session takes on you compared to the benefits, because like we've spoken about, just knowing what your legs will do, preparing the legs to run off the bike, run hard off the bike, is incredibly important, and that's how we really can be successful in triathlons. And also, something that I think is really underrated about brick sessions is that they're incredibly time efficient. The difference between doing a brick session and doing a bike in the morning and a run in the evening is significantly less for me, because I did a brick session this morning, although this wasn't the intent of it, it was to prepare the body physiologically and to prepare my mind mentally for running hard off the bike. But it did mean that Danny and I could spend a nice evening relaxing, have a nice kind of fancier dinner, and then play some board games together and just relax, which is why I'm going to bed later than I would have wanted, again, because I had to get up again to watch the Formula 1 tomorrow morning. But by combining your bike and running into one session rather than two, you just end up saving time. I think that's really useful for a lot of people who are trying to fit in triathlon training around the rest of their life. So, you know, to sum up, I think probably for most people, one brick session a week or one brick session every other week is the most kind of efficient way to get all the benefits without some of the downsides. However, if you're really strapped for time and you can do small, short, hard runs off of your harder bike sessions, doing 1 or 2 of those a week might be beneficial for you. If it is the choice between doing a short brick and hard brick run or not running at all that day, then that's a pretty straightforward decision. But I've really been enjoying the way that I've been doing brick runs this year compared to some of the years before. I've done them more frequently, and I'm really pleased with how today went and how kind of the trajectory for my improvement this season is coming along. So fingers crossed that after tomorrow we have a really relaxing, easy day tomorrow on the book. So I'll talk about things that I do for recovery, how I'm approaching recovery while increasing my training intensity and volume for the next few weeks. And hopefully once I've done that, I'm going to feel super fresh and we'll hit it really hard with another massive week of training next week. But as far as this video is concerned, I don't have anything left to say. If you've got any questions about brick runs, specific brick sessions you want to know about, any questions you've got brick running or triathlon in general, stick them down in the comment and I'll make sure to get back to them or answer you in one of these videos. So make sure you hit subscribe to see the next episode of the Train Like a Pro series. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.